Welcome to Besties, Books, and Brews,
where we're not afraid to indulge in some steamy stories.
So whether you are naughty or nice or somewhere in between,
grab a glass of your favorite brew and settle in with your favorite besties.
Hey everyone, welcome back to Besties, Books, and Brews. How's everyone doing?
Hey.
Happy
Great.
to be back.
We were on a little hiatus. So tonight we have something very special. We're going to be talking about A Court of Thorn and Roses.
ooh.
And I know so many people love this book. So we have something special for you guys. Alyssa, you want to let them know what we got?
Yeah, we have the voice actor of Rhysand. It hurts me to say Rhysand. In the dramatized version, Anthony Palmini. He's going to be joining us for a very special interview in this episode. We cannot wait for you guys to see it.
If you guys are enjoying our content, please give us a follow, subscribe, hit the notification bell, and like this video so we can continue giving you the Besties, Books, and Brews love.
Please see that.
But first, we're going to have Alyssa give us a summary.
Alrighty. So this book, I don't know if you guys know this, and Lori, you probably do because you caught on with another book we did. This is Beauty and the Beast based. So our main character, Feyre, is the sole provider for her family. She goes out and hunts for them because they are very poor. She is young. I want to say what is she, 17? Did anybody catch that in the book?
I didn't.
They had an age?
I
just knew the fairies
I knew
were
she
like
was young.
old.
Okay,
Yeah.
I think she's 17. Maybe I'm making that up. I don't know. Anyway, she's very young. She goes out into the forest every single day and hunts for her family. Her two older sisters are pretty much bratty. They never help her. They don't ever want to clean up the kills, anything like that. So she's like the main person for their family. She goes out in the woods one day. She is hunting. She can't find anything. She's about to head back home. She sees a deer in the woods, and as she's getting ready to kill this deer, a wolf comes out of nowhere. Now, in her mind, she is not sure if this wolf is a wolf or is a fairy. So in this world that they live in, there are fairies and there are humans, but they live on separate sides of a wall. However, they know that fairies breach this wall because there are holes in it, and she's just not sure if this wolf is a fairy because they can turn into animals. She ends up killing this wolf, takes it home, gives it to her family to feed, sells the pelt, and as they are sitting around the table, I think it's the next day, all of a sudden this beast breaks into their house, demanding to know who killed the wolf, and they must, I don't want to say sacrifice, but give themselves up. I keep saying sacrifice, but like as the person who has to
volunteer as tribute.
Yeah, there you go. Fulfill this like treaty that they have between the fairies and the humans, that say humans can't kill fairies, I guess. I'm not totally up on the details. But anyway, Feyre ends up confessing she's the one that kills the wolf and has to go with this fairy and live with him for the rest of her days. Not as a prisoner or slave, but just to go live there. So she's actually kind of getting the better end of this deal because she was living in really impoverished conditions. And now she gets to go live in this fairy court where it's like a mansion, and she pretty much can do whatever the hell she wants all day.
Sign me up.
Yeah, right?
Take me. I'll do it. I kill them all. Take me with you.
On top of that, the fairy shows her, fairy, by the way, his name is Tamlin, shows her this giant library that he has in the house for her. I mean,
is there anything better than that?
Right. So she goes from, not sure if she's going to eat every day to having a decadent meal on the table 3 times a day and probably whenever else she wants to eat. So the whole story is just kind of her changing her biases towards fairies as she gets to know Tamlin and his emissary Lucian, and really starting to kind of understand their kind and like them, and yeah, so you get their relationship as it progresses, and then something really bad happens at the end, which I don't want to say and ruin it. You'll have to read the book to get that, but we will discuss it after our spoiler section.
I want to be taken hostage, whatever. Can a fairy come and get me so that I can eat 3 great meals a day and have a library? Because I'm with it.
Free
I'd
roof
be
over
cool
your
with
head.
it.
I'm with
Can
it.
you tell us a little bit about the character of Rhysand?
What we know about Rhysand in the first book is that he is the High Lord of the Night Court, and the information that Feyre is given of Rhysand is that he is sort of like this bad guy. He is Amarantha's whore, which you learn Amarantha is like the High Queen of Prithian right now. But he does her bidding, so certain bad things happen and it gets blamed on him. So he's a character that I think is kind of like misunderstood, and you get to know a lot more about him once you get towards the end of the book. But he is a very interesting character.
All right. So, like we said, we have a special guest with us. We have Anthony Palmini, who is the voice actor of the dramatized version of A Court of Thorns and Roses, and he plays Rhysand, whatever it is that you want to call him. We have Anthony with us today. Yeah. Hi, Anthony. It's great to have you on here.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome.
Glad to
Happy
have
to be
you
here.
on.
Happy to be on. Happy to be on. It's so cool.
So we all have a couple of questions, and we're gonna ask and
Sure.
go around the table, and if you feel that you want to add anything to it, by all means, go right ahead. And
No
I
pressure, no
believe
pressure.
no pressure at all.
Yeah.
We're going to be kicking it off with Lori.
So my question to you is,
Yes.
before you accepted the part, have
Mhm.
you read the book or did you know anything about the book?
Confession, I did not. I did not know anything. In fact, when they had the audition, they gave me the gist of the series. I was like, oh, interesting series. And the person who was auditioning me was like, so you have no idea how, let me not say anything. I guess she wanted to say how popular it was. And so she was like, okay, cool. Just go give your kind of interpretation. And I gave it. And then she was like, okay, you got the part. And then she was like, you kind of might want to check what book we're doing. Like
what you're getting into.
Yeah. And I still didn't, because when I heard that, I was like, no, I don't want to get overwhelmed. And so it wasn't until I finished the first book that I actually saw how popular it was, and I was just like, oh, wow.
Yeah.
Was that more pressure for you?
No, I think because I had already did it, and I think that I put my mindset of like, I already did it, it's done, and so I'm gonna continue to do it in this way. So I think had I, before I auditioned, saw how popular it was, I think I probably would have psyched myself out and just been like, this has to be perfect.
Right.
This has to be like, I want them to say, that I did it right. So no pressure when I did the audition. So, and then by doing the series, I had to read the books. So I was like, oh, okay, interesting characters, interesting. What's my motivation? Let me read the chapter. So.
I feel
nice.
like the less pressure was probably better, because ACOTAR fans are rabid.
They are.
Yeah.
I think he knows that too.
Even
like
when the
from
first
some of the
book
comments
came out and the reviews came out, and then I was on TikTok for the first time, because I think like a month before I decided to even get on TikTok, I started to do something, and then I got the part, and I'm like, oh, let me just see what TikTok thinks of Rhysand. And I was like, oh, wow, even more pressure here. Holy crap. Okay. So yeah.
Yeah. So my question to you is, did you receive any kind of direction for like certain lines within the books? Like, did the author or anyone kind of steer you in certain kind of direction?
That's a good question. I think the author, she had the last say on who got picked to be his voice. And I think she saw something in my performance that was different. And so they wanted to kind of guide it to where obviously there's all these different parts of his characteristic where he's like, he can be an asshole. He can be, very suave. He can be very angry. He can be very, we wanted to tie that all together as still him having some type of core of a feeling of caring, right? Because I mean, obviously he cares about a lot of things. And so in the midst of all that, they wanted to make sure that I was still grounded in that, even when he's his angriest or his assholiness. I don't even know that's word. And so they wanted it to kind of gear it towards that. And so as I get directed when I'm reading the book. So there are some times where they're just like, wait, no, come a little back. You're going a little too much over there. Bring him back over here. And we have a great director, and she definitely keeps me on that path where it's just like sometimes, we'll kind of be in a certain situation. She's like, okay, wait, let's kind of rewind and go back to the different chapters. This is what's leading to this scene, and this is what you're doing. And so a lot of the times I'm like, right. And I kind of get in that zone and then deliver the lines.
So
That's
how did
so
you,
cool.
how did you decide on his voice? Did you take like kind of inspiration from anywhere or?
Well, I think that's a good question, because I think the voice, I was just trying to figure out like truth be told, up until that point, I was playing a lot of zany characters in audiobooks and just in general. And so for me, I wanted to make this character as far away from that voice and even my natural voice as far away as possible as I could. And then I started to think, I'm like, well, who do I know from my, my experience in TV and just pop culture. And I was like, well, this character definitely feels like he has fun at times. Like he's very suave, but he has a lot of fun. He's just very like, so I was like, who is that? And I was like, well, I know Loki from the Marvel series is like that. And then I just went even back further. I'm like, okay, but who's like a tormented soul who likes somebody, but he really can't let them in? I'm like, well, Spike from Buffy the Vampire Slayer.
Oh yeah.
Oh yeah.
He's another kind of that character. And so I try to take their voice where it's a little deeper, because of, I guess, to play more on the torment and play more on just the suaveness. So then I was like, okay, I'll find somewhere in between there and just kind of merge all those ideas together, along with, of course, his actual personality. But those were the inspirations that I got for the voice.
Okay. That's fucking cool.
That
and also amazing that the voice was blessed by SJM herself.
Yeah.
Yeah,
it was a cool, very long audition, and I honestly thought I wasn't going to get it just because I was just like, am I saying it right? I have no idea what this book is. Maybe I should have read it, you idiot. You should have read the book so you got an idea. And then they
obviously, yeah, you did amazing. And they were like, hey,
you got it. You got the part. Yeah.
So speaking of that, have you gotten to meet the author, Sarah J. Maas?
Not yet. No, I definitely plan to, reach out to her, and, there's just like so much happening, and usually towards the end, usually you start to meet. And I'm just so new to the audio, but like this was my first, I would say this was my second like lead or semi-lead audiobook narration. Before that, it was just purely, thank you. It was purely animation and commercials. And then this was just like, because graphic audio decided to go the route of making it almost like an audio play, where they have music and sound effects. And even when we get the book is broken down into a script like you would get as an actor on anything else. And so I really didn't know what the format was like or the formalities is like. Do I just like, hey pal, thanks for picking me, or I don't know. so I try to keep it very professional, but I definitely would love to reach out to her and just tell her thank you, and just have a chat. But I know she's busy, and I know we're all kind of busy, so in due time that'll happen.
Absolutely.
I'm sure you'll have offers flooding in now too after this series.
Hopefully, yeah.
So you may or may not know this, but there was a lot of, and probably still is, a lot of controversy around the way your character's name is pronounced.
Yeah, I've seen a little bit of that on TikTok, where it's just like, that's not how you say it. I'm like, oh my God.
I am curious, when you first, were given the role or talked about it, did they tell you the character's name out loud, or was it something where you were able to read it? And I'm just curious, like, how you pronounced it in your head before you ever started the role.
I think when they told me, they showed me phonetically how to say the name, and it was phonetically Rhysand.
Okay.
So I never really got an opportunity to think of it in a different way, but I can see both. I can definitely see it be Rhysand. It's just, I honestly, when they gave me it, I was like, okay, that's how you say it.
There you go. That's it.
There you go. That's my name. That's my name. So
I think I'm the only one in this group that says Rhysand. Everybody else says Rhysand, right?
No, Nikki said Rhysand earlier.
I said,
did you?
Yeah,
I-
Rhysand.
I would have seen it as Rhysand as well.
Me too.
Yeah.
No, because would you with his nickname? Would you call him Rice, or would you
Yes,
call him
Rice. Rice.
Really? Like
Yes. When I was reading it 2 years ago, I was saying Rice in my head the whole time.
But we know it's Rhysand. We don't want to upset all the the readers out there.
Nah,
I'm just
still
going
saying
by what
Rhysand.
I'm told.
Okay, so along the lines of the graphic audio, we know that it's you actually kind of shed some light on this with there being a director, because I had no idea about this, but I'm curious, like, how the recording of the graphic audio worked. Did you complete all the narration for the characters first, and then you go back and do the background noises after, or like, how did that happen?
Good question. So I believe it was, oh man, I forget which book that Rhys actually does a bunch of narration. But basically we do the narration parts first. So if it's just narration, that's done separately. And sometimes that's actually just done by yourself. You do that part and then they collect that part. But the actual acting parts of it, we would have a director, and we would be over online, and we would go through it, and then everything is kind of done in the same day. So all the action, all the speaking, all the spicy stuff, all that stuff is done in the same time.
That's really cool.
That is pretty cool.
And it's one-on-one, so it's never like, I'm never online or acting with another actor. It's just me and the director.
Oh.
But she directs everybody, so she kind of knows, especially depending on who gets recorded first. She kind of knows what their delivery has been, or what their speed of the dialogue is. So she's able to kind of either slow us down or speed us up or do whatever, because she knows already, like, oh, okay, well, if he goes this way, this might not match up. So let's kind of slow it down.
Okay,
that is so interesting.
Very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. She's like, really good at her job.
You would just never know, just listening to you. Would think you guys were all in the same room, feeding off of each other. She's
an excellent director. She's very, very good. Very, very good.
So did you ever hear Feyre's, the voice actress of Feyre, before you did this, during this, or no?
It was only after the first book that we had reached out to each other, because we were like, whoa, this is so cool. This is so good. Like, it was like we were in the same room, like the same reaction you had. We had that when we were like, this sounds like we were in the same room talking to each other. Like, that's so cool. And she's so sweet. She's so nice too. And we've definitely we're just very overwhelmed. She's like, yeah, this is crazy. Like, this is like really, really a lot of good and bad.
Right.
And she's the main narrator. Like, she's almost in almost every book, she's the one that's the main narrator. So she has a lot of that, is her, on her, to not only be Feyre, but to actually be the narrator for the book. So she does a good job. Does she
do multiple female voices in it, or just Feyre?
No, I think just Feyre. I think for the graphic audio, they try to keep everybody like separate. I don't think everybody does just do one voice.
Huh. Okay. There are so many characters in those books. That must be a huge cast.
Yeah. It's a lot. It's a lot.
So when it came to, like, I don't know what they would call it in the voice acting world, but tryouts or whatever you would call it, what was that process like, and how competitive was it?
So for the audition, I think when I got wind of it, it was already kind of, they were auditioning a lot of people, and I think again, because it's a little different from like on camera acting where you're going somewhere and you kind of see your competition and you kind of wait. Like I was an actor before this, so a lot of it, especially when you're doing on camera work, is like you're literally sitting outside the door while the other person's acting. Like, oh man, I'm not gonna get this, or oh, I can do better than that. Whereas voice acting is like you're in the void. It's just like here's a role, record it on your own. Let us know. We'll probably give you like maybe 1 or 2 notes, and then you do a second round, and then that's it. And then you just kind of put it in the void and go, well, I hope I get it. If I don't, oh well.
On to the next one.
Yeah, it's a little bit less stressful because it's like you're not actually hearing other people do the lines. You're just kind of like, here you go. Let's see what happens.
Right. So it's not like you have to like compete with how this person sounds or that person sounds. It's a little more laid back.
Exactly.
So how did you actually get the job? Like, what was the day? Like, I don't know. Like, how did you get it?
It was, what do you mean? Like, how did they let me know I got the part?
Like, how did you get the part? And
like did they call you and like, Anthony, you are the winner?
They're like, stop what you're doing right now. Brace yourself. No.
Put a bookmark in it.
They sent me an email. They're like, you got the part.
An email? That is so impersonal.
But it was a very excited email. Like,
of course.
You did it. You know.
It better have been in all caps.
You got the part. Yeah, it was just like, and again, I think again, because I didn't know anything about it, they thought that I would probably be freaking out. Whereas to me, it was just like, oh, I got it. Cool. All right. When did we start recording?
How long was the period between getting the part and actually starting recording?
Oh, that depends. I mean, they try to go by your schedule. They try to accommodate very well. That's why I like working with them, because they try to keep it open for when, you know, you're available too. So they give you kind of like a schedule in between, like, okay, from this date to this date, when are you free? And then I just picked the day I was free, and they're like, okay, director's free that day, so go record.
That is pretty cool.
Yeah, this whole process sounds super like low
chill, right?
Very chill.
Yeah.
Very chill. That's why I love voice acting, because it's like for most of the part, it's just like this. Just everybody's just very chill. Everybody's just very cool, and yeah, it's just very different from on camera. And I love on camera acting. I still do it from time to time. It's just definitely the vibe is a little different because there's less of that. You know, you can record as you wake up and just be like, all right, I'm ready. Like there's no like, gotta get makeup, gotta know your marks. You gotta like, as long as you know your lines and your intentions and you have your equipment ready, like you're good to go. Like you're ready to start. So
it's kind of like work from home or going to the
office. Right.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Yeah.
That is pretty cool. I would have thought there was a lot more to it. Like they have you all like, okay, like no, you all have to be here at this time. We got to do this. That is really cool that it's so laid back.
Yeah. And the fact that they're able to pull it off, because, you know, it's just like, again, when you get the end result and it sounds like everybody's in the same room and everything's happening, it's just like, it's a really good job on their part to do that, even though we're not in the same room.
Yeah.
So we all know that you're an amazing voice actor, but in your opinion, what do you think makes a great voice actor?
Oh, that's a tough question and a good question. Well, voiceover in general is definitely what I hear from a lot of people that I haven't been able to just be like my mentors, is definitely they try to say is just like keep it natural, you know, try not to lose focus on just the voice, because then you kind of lose the humanity of it, you know, whatever role you're playing. So I like when they are able to have a good voice but also a good performance.
Okay.
And in audiobooks it's the same thing. I mean, audiobooks, you know, I'm definitely lucky, and we're all lucky that we got this kind of version of audiobook narration, because before this, the audiobook narration is like you got one narrator and they're doing 10 voices. And that's what I'm doing now. I'm doing 2 books where I'm voicing every male character in that book.
Oh, wow.
So there's like over 12 to 13 voices that I have to do that are different from each other.
Oh my goodness.
And so it's definitely a marathon compared to other styles of voiceover work, where you really have to think like, okay, I just created this character, this voice for this character, and now 20 pages later, you're like, wait, does this sound like the character I did before? Is this going to be confusing? And so you kind of have to like,
Right.
do little nuances so it doesn't sound the same. So
did you get any like backlash on, your part as Rhys? Because I know I saw a little bit on TikTok. It's like you had those that were like, oh, he's like the perfect voice, and then there's others that are like, no. So
yeah, you had people that were ready to rage quit on
Right.
listening.
I had
to
people
the
who were like burning the books. They're like, I can't read the book anymore thanks to you. I'm like, holy crap, really?
Like,
Wow.
Oh my god,
Yeah,
people are so mean.
They really are.
They're like, you totally missed the mark. Now I just can't read the book anymore. I'm like, all right, I'm sorry.
Right.
So weird.
I didn't mean to do that. But it's so funny because the biggest kind of on both sides, they were either you were a little upset by it or a lot, which was my pronunciation. There you go. Even I messed that up. Of library. There's a part where I say library by mistake.
Right.
And there's been so many comments for that.
Listen,
like,
he's from New York, all right?
Yeah,
New York came out of him.
It came out. But it's so funny because there was this comment on the website where the reviewer goes, I love everything about it, but please, please, please tell your actors to pronounce things correctly. I cannot emphasize that the word is library,
Oh my
not
God.
library. And I was like, duly noted. Wow.
I will remember that for next time.
I will remember that. Yeah.
Oh, I saw a couple of comments and I was just like, don't be talking to my friend like that. I will throw punch you. Like, what are you doing? But yeah, no, I think you did an amazing job. Being that this was my first time listening to an audiobook like that, but I think you did an amazing job.
Thank you. And honestly, it kind of also made me aware of just how, I don't want to say subjective, but just how people, it's not a bad thing. It's just like, I'm pretty sure a lot of those readers had a specific voice in their head.
Right.
And it just wasn't my voice. So I don't really take it that personally when they're like, you're not the voice. It should be British. It should be that. It should be that. I'm like, I'm pretty sure that, that's up until this point when you were reading that in your mind, that was the voice.
Right.
And so when it's different from even if it's not in the range that you're expecting, of course you're going to be upset about it. So anytime I see those kind of negative comments, I go, yeah, I hope that in the future you get whatever
voice it is that you want.
Yeah. That's my intent, is to make sure that character comes to life and never be like, I'm the right version. This is how he's supposed to sound. No.
I am Rhys.
Yeah.
But on that note, I've seen your videos where you had Rhysand and like the different dialects and everything, and they're hysterical.
Yeah.
Well, that was born out of that, because I was like, well, how would I do that if it was a different tone or a different voice? So I just started messing around with different versions of it just to kind of play around with it.
That was hilarious.
It was hilarious.
Unfortunately, with a series like ACOTAR, like I said earlier, SJM fans are rabid. Like, they have just specific ways that they picture every character and every way it wants to go. I don't know if you've seen this, but I don't even know if it's still going on. They were going to put the ACOTAR series into a show. And anytime like a potential actor gets announced, people go nuts attacking that person in the comments. It's like, you just can't win it. So no matter what,
nobody's going to be happy.
We all think you did a fucking amazing job.
Yeah.
So to everybody who doesn't think that.
Well, I come from the the comic book realm is just like that too. Whenever they announce this person's playing Batman, oh my God. So I'm like, yeah, been there, done that. I get it. Like, comic book fan, so I know how precious it is to turn something from a page in a comic book to a real life person. And if it doesn't match, the fans are going to be having their opinions of it, and speaking of which, Lori's husband, my friend Leroy, and I have a podcast called Comic Tube where we talk about stuff like that. that person did a great job. No, this is ruined forever. So yeah, so we have that. So I know what it's like.
Yep, you can't please everybody, unfortunately.
Nope.
Well, we did put on our, I think it was our TikTok page, asking if anybody had a question they wanted us to ask you. We did have a comment on it from.
Oh, cool.
The name is Le Fancy Possum.
Very fancy name.
She wanted to know, how did you keep a straight face while reading the spicy scenes?
The good thing about that is that I record, in a booth where I'm by myself. So, I mean, obviously the director's there, but I think it would be even more awkward if it was like in front of people doing that for the first time. So, I mean, obviously the first go around, you're just kind of laughing a little bit like, oh my God, okay. And then you just kind of go, okay, all right, I got to get into character. So, I try to also do that beforehand. Like I just psych myself out from laughing where I'm just like, this is crazy. Like I'm saying this into a microphone, and if somebody were to just pass by and they would just be like, what the hell is he doing? What is going on? Why is he that close to the mic and being so...
He's breathing really heavy.
Like what is happening?
By himself in a room.
By himself, yeah. Like, what? So I try to envision that, and I laugh, I get it out, and then I go, okay. And then when it's time to record, I'm like, let's go. This is...
All right, move along.
Yeah, this is part of it. Let's do it.
Let me tell you, I am not mature enough for that, because just listening to certain parts, I was giggling like a schoolgirl. I turned a whole 10 years old. It was hilarious. I could not. I wouldn't get through it.
And that was another one of those things that I never read ahead. So I was just like, oh, maybe this is the limit of how spicy it gets. And oh my God, okay.
How did you prepare for that? Like, did you take from personal experience, or did you watch porn?
Lori!
I don't even,
why are you saying this?
Lori's reading my mind. She is reading my mind. I didn't want to ask it, but thank you, Lori.
I mean...
Or did you practice on your girlfriend, wife, whatever?
Did you ask your wife, like, hey, is this hot?
I think I just go with what the character would do for that scene and what would go right with that scene as that character. Okay. That is my comment.
That's the comment.
That's the comment.
We're going to read between the lines on
that.
Up to interpretation. Yeah. So wait, was this your first, as a voice actor, was this your first book with a spicy scene in it?
Oh yeah. This was I've never done that before, ever, in any type of voice acting.
Well, at least not in voice acting.
Or in voice acting.
Well, we read between the lines, Nikki. We got that.
Well, I'm putting a dot behind it.
Yeah. So yeah, it was a lot of just like, oh, okay, we're going headfirst into this, and all right, okay. So yeah, first time doing that in any type of voiceover capacity. So yeah, it was interesting.
Touching on that, because I'm curious, because there are some
interesting
that are like
interesting word you use, but go ahead. Because
I'm just saying, because I'm wondering how it works in the sense that, like, in some of the kissing scenes, like, you actually hear like almost like spit. Like, how does that work when you're recording? Are you making out with something?
I mean, you just gotta. You gotta just
like. Are you making out with your hand?
Right.
Sometimes it depends on if that's the description. I try to just mimic that with just by mimicking it. But other times, yeah, you might have to just.
Side note, for those of y'all that are watching, Lori, Anthony, and I have known each other for over 20 years.
Yeah.
So we are on
Lori.
that level. And yes, it was very weird hearing your friend.
Yeah, I can imagine for you.
Yeah.
I remember I had a friend whose sister was telling her that she was obsessed with the audiobook, and she had no idea what the book was about. And so before she listened to, I think it was the third book, she was like, hey, so my sister says this and that. And she was just like, whatever. And then she actually listens to the spicy scene. And she was just like, she typed back WTF, like just dot, 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 dot. It's like, what the fuck am I listening? What? I was like, yeah.
The side of Anthony we've never seen before.
Yeah. She was just very shocked because, before that it was just very different, roles that I got. So she's like, oh, he's probably going to make me laugh. And then she was like, what the hell am I, what is this? So,
yes,
yeah.
Because Anthony does have a background in comedy. He does a lot of
stand-up
comedy. He's hilarious.
He's hysterical.
That's why I love when Rhys does those. It's just like he's just his asshole self, or he's
definitely
just like
you can definitely feel the personality of
I love
Anthony
it.
coming through there. Like if you know him, you feel it.
Yeah.
Oh, that's
any more questions, Lori?
Rhys has like a very dry sense of humor, so like that's perfect.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have any more awkward here?
I'm good.
On that note,
yes.
Anthony, can you tell us about any upcoming projects that you have?
Sure. So I have one book that came out that's called I Am Armageddon. It's a co-narration, and it's along the same lines of ACOTAR in a certain way. And that just came out. And then there's a book that's coming out soon. I'm not sure when, but it's called The Quarter Mage, and another kind of fantasy, same style. And that one I just play the lead character. But it's funny because it's like an even deeper Rhys voice. So I really had to even go deeper for that one.
That's what she said.
And on that note, those are the two books that are out now. There are others, but I can't say yet. But those are the two that I can talk about.
Anthony, can you please say hello, favorite darling, for everybody to hear?
I have to block
Lori
and.
What do we need to look away?
Them. Yeah.
No, not you. I know Lori and Nick, you're gonna make me laugh. Like I'm gonna sound very different from. Hello, favorite darling.
And there it is. Folks.
There it is. Folks.
There it is.
Bravo.
Anthony, we cannot thank you enough for joining us tonight. But
thank you.
Before we end this, we have a very special surprise for all the watchers, the listeners, and everyone in between.
So yes, there is a prize. Basically, I will be signing a copy of the first book, ACOTAR, and also I will make a personalized audio recording for the person who wins. And you can find more information about the winner and about the giveaway on TikTok and Instagram.
Yes, but I'm going to link all of Anthony's socials where you can find him. Please make sure to follow him. But once again, thank you so much, Anthony, for joining us and
thank you. This is fun.
And we're so proud of you. And
I
mean, I can't say that I'm going to listen to the rest of them because it's kind of weird, but I will support you in any way possible.
You just fast forward.
I'll listen, but I'll just stop recording. Like I'll stop listening at those moments.
Right.
You can kind of tell when it gets to the. When
I'm sure.
The heavy breathing.
And you just kind of just go fast forward. And just read about it and then go, okay, got it. And then just listen to the rest of it.
Thank you, Anthony.
Everybody needs to seriously go look at his other works because he is hysterical. He also voice acts a cat, a bodega cat.
Yes,
I do.
Oh, I love bodega cats.
Totally different from Rhys. Totally different.
So, Rhys, do you want to bid us a farewell?
You guys got to look away again.
You got to look away. Thanks for checking out this podcast. See you later.
Amazing.
It's so cool.
It
is. You're the best, Anthony.
Yeah. Thank you so much. This was awesome.
Yeah, I had a lot of fun.
Thank you.
Had a lot of fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
Yes, thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Anthony.
Anytime you need me back on, just let me know.
We'll
Oh,
see
we'll
you
let you know.
soon.
Hold you to that.
Careful what you say.
All right. Have a good night.
You
Have
too.
a good night. Bye.
All right, so what did everybody rate this book? I'm actually really interested to hear because we haven't talked about it at all, which we usually do after we read them.
So,
I think, first, I think it's fair to say that we didn't actually read it, but heard it.
But we
So,
talked about this. Audiobooks are reading a book.
no, I agree, but I also feel like there's still a different
a feel to it.
exactly.
We listened to it. I'm going to go back and reread it because I
Mhm.
just feel like I would take in more information actually reading the book. But from listening to it, I gave it a 5-star. And as far as spice, I gave it like a 3.5. They had some spicy scenes.
Dang, that's generous. Okay. For the spice, I mean. All right. Okay. All right. Okay.
I think it was so how they described it, how it was played out. I thought it was really good. Like, as far as, was there a lot? No. Of course I would want more, but yeah, I thought it was decent.
Okay. All right. Sarah?
I gave the book 4.5, and that 0.5 is mainly because for the first half of the book I had no idea what was going on. When it comes to audiobooks, my mind is all over the place, and so I only really got the gist of what happened, and I didn't start really getting into it until the second part of the dramatized version.
So, as all of you know, I'm apparently a speed reader, but when it comes to listening to an audiobook, it takes me a whole fucking month to read it. I literally finished it this morning at like, I want to say like 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. So yeah, it took me forever to read this book. It was like, I'm listening to it and it's like, did I close the curtains? Did I do this? Do I have to do that tomorrow? What do I have to do in a day? Yeah, it was a shit show.
In both of your defense, Sarah and I talked about this because we had read the physical books. We were saying if we had not read the physical books first, the dramatized version would have been harder to listen to because I even think it's different than a normal audiobook in that there is a lot of stuff happening in the background of it, and that can easily get you distracted just listening on what's happening behind it versus just the audio. There were even some times during it, like when they were under the mountain, because it was so like dramatic what was going on, I had to even rewind because I'm like, I don't know what the fuck they're saying right now. So yeah,
with all the clinking and clanking and running and talking, and I'm like, wait, who, what? Yeah. So that's why I gave it a 4.5. I do plan on going back and actually like reading the book, and I'm sure my thing will change. Spice wise, I give it like a 1, and mainly because there wasn't much of it, and then what I heard was very awkward. And not sexy at all. So I'm good on that end.
I laughed a whole lot at it. I mean, that's that's probably where my 3.5 came. I was very amused. It was very like, I'm telling you, I giggled like a fucking schoolgirl listening to the shit. I'm just like, like,
yeah, I could feel my cheeks getting red from like secondhand embarrassment.
I'm glad Anthony confirmed the hand makeout thing because like it sounds like somebody's making out with their hand when they were kissing.
And that's another thing. I have this thing about certain sounds where I'm just like, and like squelching type sounds just don't do it for me.
Yeah. And all of Tamlin's like groans while he was kissing. I'm like,
you know what? I'm changing my rating to a 1. I just gave it a 3 because
your spice rating.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like they're just making out. I'm like, they're really noisy for making out. Like all these moans and groans. I'm like, nothing's happening but you're kissing. Like, come on, guys. Like, who does that in real life? If I'm kissing my husband, I don't be like
a 13-year-old.
And I'm like, that's so weird.
My fucking face hurts.
Just saying.
Yeah, you know what? You're right. It kind of reminded me of like, you know, like in the movies that you see like the little kid, like the younger, like teenage kids in like their room, like kissing their pillows or like their stuffed animals. And
It's exactly what I used to do with my Barbies. My Barbies, when they kiss, would be like, That's what that reminds me of.
I'm crying because we thought that was sexy.
Exactly. That's how we thought it sounded like. But I guess when it comes to an audiobook, you can't exactly have silence because you need to know that they're kissing.
It's like, oh, he kissed me so sensually.
Listen, I've listened to normal audiobooks, and they do just read it like normally, not like sounds in the background. That's why for me, I was like, whoa, this is not it. I definitely need you guys to go back and read those scenes.
Yeah, definitely going to.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just so now like my mind is like in the rest of the books when it gets spicier. I can't.
Yeah, you do definitely need to experience it with your eyeball. What do we call that? Eyeball reading versus ear hole reading.
Ear hole reading. Yes.
You need to eyeball read it, and then you can go ear hole read it after if you want to. You don't have to.
Oh my goodness.
All right, Sarah, what did you rate it?
Okay, so the dramatized audiobook is a 5. It was amazing. I loved it. The just thing about ACOTAR is the first half is just slow.
It is.
So when I read it initially, it was a 4 only because of that, because the second half is amazing. And Spice, I gave it a 2 just because I know from reading it that I liked it. But yeah, the sounds were meh. But man, the dramatized was so cool.
It definitely was.
Yeah, I only want to listen to fantasy like that now. Like fantasy
right?
books.
Yeah, it's like you feel. What did it say in the beginning of the graphic audio? It's like a movie for your ears.
Like yeah, it was.
I'm like, it fucking was.
You feel like you're like walking with them in the forest.
Oh yeah.
Like, okay.
But like you said, like if any fantasy, needs to have like a dramatization audiobook, like it just has to happen.
Yeah.
Yeah. I hope they do like all of SJM's books like this. I mean, I think the only ones right now are the ACOTAR series, but I mean, she has a whole 8-book series also. That's fantasy. All right, so I rated ACOTAR 5 stars both times I've read it. When I physically read it, when I listened to it, I may be biased, but I freaking love this series. I did not think this book was spicy. The one scene, it's so funny because I see this book advertised as a spicy fantasy on TikTok all the time. And I'm like, maybe I don't remember. Because when I first read this, it was 2 years ago.
Right.
So I was like, maybe I forgot about spicy scenes that happened. But rereading it, it was the one scene. I mean, technically the second scene when they got caught under the mountain didn't really happen. So it was like the one scene and the dramatized version I did not like. I didn't love that.
Suicide, me no likey.
Yeah. Everything else about the dramatized version, I fucking loved it. It was awesome. It was just the moans behind it and the kissing sounds. It was like
it was cringy. It was.
Yeah.
It was.
Like you said, secondhand embarrassment listening to it. But aside from that, like if I was reading it again, the scene was good. It was just weird to listen to. So
Alyssa, where's the spice?
so I don't know if the pages are different between hardback and paperback, but in the hardback that I have, it starts on page 245 and it is chapter 27. That's like the only real sex scene. There isn't a scene that happens under the mountain where they like almost have sex, but they get caught. So I'm not even counting that as like a spice scene. All right. Does anybody have like favorite scenes from the book? What is the scene that sticks out to you when you think about it?
It's when she's competing at the end of the book. And she kills the first 2 fairies and then they reveal Tamlin. And I was like, oh shit. But she feels that she can kind of like trick
Amarantha.
Amarantha, her. She tries to trick her because she remembers that Tamlin's heart is like made of stone or something. So when she stabs him to kill him, he doesn't die, but this bitch is pissed off and basically kills her. She beats the shit out of her. The seven High Lords, they basically bring her back, and she's like a fucking fairy now. But yeah.
We should just let Nikki do the summaries from now on.
Absolutely not.
They bring her back. She's a fucking fairy now.
What did you guys think of when you first met Rhys?
So as I'm listening to it, and I heard his voice, and then she's like, he's the most beautiful fairy I've ever seen. I'm like, okay. All right. And as she's describing him, I'm like, all right, I can see that. I can, all right. But I had a feeling like he was gonna be like this character that portrayed like he's this evil wench's sidekick, but he's really not. So I was like, all right, I was like, this is gonna be pretty cool. But yeah, like I said, I really don't want to talk too much about it because I want to read the book and actually like get everything from it, because I'm telling you, I could not focus on this thing for nothing in the world.
Yeah, for me, I think not that I was spoiled, but I think because of TikTok and everybody's reactions.
That was another thing too, yeah.
For me, it was almost like I don't think I got that full effect because I kind of already know how this character turns out.
Yeah.
Wait, you already know what happens?
I don't know what happens, but just based I'm saying like
as far
like
as
people's,
him,
like people's impressions of him.
Right.
Okay.
And so it's hard for me to have my own opinion when I first meet him because I already know the kind of character that he is. Not necessarily what happens to him, because I try to stay away from that stuff, but just the fact that everybody's like so in love with him and swooning over him and everything. I'm like, okay, now I kind of know what kind of character he is.
I'm glad you don't know what happens, because I'm like, if somebody spoiled this for you, I'm gonna be pissed.
No. And even then, I don't seek out spoilers,
right.
But I'm also that type of person where I'm just like, I'm not surprised if I do get spoiled, and I'm just like, whatever.
What do you guys think of Tamlin while we're talking about main male characters?
So I know this is like a topic that everybody like hates him.
You're not supposed to know that.
Oh, well, once again, TikTok, everybody fucking hates him. It's like, I hate Tamlin and fucking, but me personally, at least in the first book, from what I've read, I feel like he's just been through so much bullshit that he's just like closed off to everything. So it's like, it's not necessarily that he wants to be an asshole. It's just that he knows so much death. He's seen so much death that it's just like, fuck it. I am what I am. Like, I don't know. He started to grow on me. I liked him.
What did you think?
I liked him too.
I don't trust him.
Yeah.
Like, there's something about him that I'm just like, there's some there. I don't know what it is. And I didn't know what anybody's perception of him was.
He kind of gives me a Dane type of vibe. But I don't know. So far, I like him.
What did you think of his conduct under the mountain is a better question. Like, he ignored her for her safety. And then the very first time that he got to actually talk to her, instead of speaking to her, he tried to have sex with her.
I think it sounds like a man.
Yeah. I mean, it's not like she was going against it. She wanted it just as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I think that also contributes to why I don't trust him. I don't know. There's something there. I can't even explain it, but I don't trust him.
Tamlin's voice was so hot though.
It was.
Yeah, he and I remember texting Sarah. I'm like, oh my god, holy shit.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I loved all the trials. I mean, I liked even when I don't know, she was just exploring the fairy world. I mean, it's just the whole second part of the book is amazing.
The second part of the book was
a lot better than the first. Yeah, the first it was dragging.
Like I said, I got the gist of what happened. I'm like, okay, she killed something. She's in their world because of some treaty. And for me, I think because of the fact that I got lost in the beginning, I was like, wow, they fell in love really quickly. But I'm
Right.
pretty sure there was more
There was
to
more
it.
to it.
That I'm
No,
like,
they
did I
did.
just
I
did
still
they?
They
think
did.
you,
Yeah.
it went from very much where she like was distrustful, didn't like the fairies, to like he kind of was nice to her a few times and then she loved him.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay, thank you. All right, so I didn't miss anything, but
Mm-mm.
No, yeah, but I mean, also, I guess it is a book, so like I know that that happens, but I'm trying to think like from her perspective. She lived in a very sheltered life where, you know, she's had one guy she's ever had sex with, and it was literally just to escape this like awful life that she lived. And then she was whisked away by this man who says he's taking care of her family, like every single aspect of it. He's feeding her like for the first time in her life. And I mean, try not to fall in love with a man like that, you know, like super quick. So, yeah, so I guess I can kind of understand it, especially also she's super young too.
Yeah.
yeah. That's I mean that's true. I fell in love quite quickly as well.
Well,
So-
listen, we white
We've all
picket
been
fence
there.
everyone, okay?
Mm-hmm.
We have all been there.
Yeah. Okay, so then, but yeah, I definitely agree that the second half of the dramatization was very good. I actually paid attention with that, so I knew what was going on. But just like anything else, don't ask me names because I'm just like that guy and that guy and that guy who's friends with that guy who's friends
Right.
with that guy.
Right.
But otherwise,
And in
yeah,
that place, yeah.
exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well, luckily there were only two places in this book.
True.
We either had spring court or under the mountain. Those are the only two. Well, she did go home for a little bit.
Yeah,
Very,
and how
very
crazy
briefly.
was it that Nesta like picked up on something and then followed her?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was really cool that Nesta's will is what
Yeah.
prevented Tamlin's like glamour from doing anything to her.
Right.
That
Crazy.
this bitch was like, I'm so stubborn, you are not gonna tell me what I'm thinking.
Yeah, from a high lord. Like he wasn't even
Right.
just a low-level fairy.
Mm-hmm.
Right. You know, Nessa's like a bad bitch, even though she seems kind of awful. She's a bad bitch. Yeah, she definitely showed some colors there that you were not expecting from her at all.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's true, Sarah. I forgot about that. There's a lot of little like things in this book that you forget about over time.
Yes.
My other favorite scene from this book is in the end when Feyre goes out, she feels like the tug and she goes out and meets Rhys on the balcony. You know, after they defeat Amarantha, and he's kind of like asking her how it feels to be Fae. I actually have a quote on that one. Hold on. Let me find it. Oh, she asked him why he helped her. And he said, because when the legends get written, I didn't want to be remembered for standing on the sidelines. I want my future offspring to know that I was there and that I fought against her at the end, even if I couldn't do anything useful. Because he went on, his eyes locked with mine. I didn't want you to fight alone or die alone. Thought that was really
I do love that quote. I just wouldn't have been able to like write it down, but I love that quote. Like that was probably like the only thing that really like stuck with me because that's when I was like, oh, he's not a bad guy. Like you can see he kind of care. He's starting to care.
Yeah.
I'm so excited for you guys.
I really, really want to read it so I can like really grasp it.
Mm-hmm.
All right. We hope you enjoyed our review and our interview with Anthony on A Court of Thorns and Roses. Be sure to check out our Instagram, our TikTok, so you can see how to enter the giveaway for the signed books of Akatar and the special voiceover that Anthony's going to do for the winners. Next week, we are going to be finally reviewing The Ashes and the Star-Cursed King by Carissa Broadbent. We did The Serpent and the Wings of Night a while ago now, but we will finally do this review. It's gonna happen.
Yes.
So buckle up, bookworms. We'll see you next week.
Bye. like and subscribe.